Hello, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham, and the negativity unfortunately continues. Now, I don't mean negativity as in my attitude towards things, I just mean negativity on the pitch. So we've suffered another defeat, another London derby where we've conceded 3 goals. So that's 3 against Palace, 3 against Chelsea, and now 3 against Arsenal. It's just not good enough at the end of the day. I know I don't tend to go on massive rants, and there's going to be mini rants within this one. I know it's still early in the tenure of Nuno, and I know there's a lot of people that have been saying Nuno out. I do think that's a bit ridiculous at this stage because there's reasons behind things, but there's aspects that we can't get away from. So we're going to talk about that. First of all, any of you that are new, welcome to the channel. I just basically give you my views and opinions on the game. I give you information about what the managers and players have said, what's been said in the press, and a little review of the games and ins and outs. Things are going to change a little bit on this channel, so I am actually going to change the name from my name, Kieran Bacon. I'm going to change it to Speaking Spurs, so if you're somebody that searches for it, moving forward, it will be Speaking Spurs. It will change, hopefully, tomorrow. I plan to do that. But if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, show your support, gain those subscribers so we can get over the 1,000 mark, and then I can start doing live videos and things like that. Because at the moment, I'm having to find time to record after games and things like that and then post and edit. But if I can do them live, that takes away the editing and things like that. You can just tune in and listen at your leisure. And they'll all be saved anyway afterwards, so you can still watch them at a later date. It just helps with little things like that. So look, playing at the Emirates for the first time in a long time, it wasn't like a library. They were really up for it because they haven't really had a chance to bellow out for a long time against Tottenham. So we'll run through the lineup. Hugo Lloris in goal, Tanganga and Reguilon making up left back and right back, Sanchez and Dyer back in the centre defence as a partnership together. Then we had a midfield of Tanguy and Ndombele, Højbjerg and Dele Alli, and then Sonny and Moore on the wings, which leaves Kane as the man in the middle. So it was, a 4-3-3. And it didn't really work. It left us kind of condensed in the middle, left gaps over the wings. It just wasn't great. Arsenal come out and dominated the game and deservedly got the win. Things had to change at half-time, which Nuno did. He made his substitutions. We were better in the second half, but we just weren't good enough to really get ourselves back in the game because at 3-0, that gives Arsenal the luxury of being able to not push forward as much. So as much as we went forward, they could defend it out and hit us on the counter, which is always a danger in these type of situations. At 1-0, different situation. 2-0, slightly different. But at 3-0, we kind of have to go for it, but then that leaves us exposed. And the fact is, whilst we were actually trying to be even in the game, we weren't defending great. So let's just talk about the individual player performances. Hugo Lloris, once again, he didn't really do too much wrong. All the goals, I don't feel like he really had much of a chance to save. Smith Rowe was just given acres of space in the middle of the area, so he could just pick his spot. They were just some decent goals. Saka's was a bit more sloppy, but he just battled through to get that one. But he did make a couple of good saves. There was one from Partey in the first half, one from Saka in the second half. The negative to his game this time round, and this is a long-standing thing with Hugo, his kicking under pressure is not great. So that didn't help us at times. Poor kicking, things going out for throw-in, straight to the opposition, not being hit as far as he wants to, not in the right areas. That does invite a lot of pressure on us when we lose the ball from those, where I feel like, by this stage, he should have worked on it enough and should be composed. And this was the part of the worry that Pep had all them years ago with Joe Hart. He just didn't feel like he was good enough on the ball. So, yeah, that's Lloris, really. Tanganga, this was one of his poorer games, really. No impact at all. He was off at half-time, wasn't great going forward, wasn't, doing much for us defensively. And I feel like he just plays better in games like the Man City one, the real big games. However, this is a derby, and I feel like the occasion got the better of him. I expected him to be a lot better in this game. Just pretty poor. Then Reguilon, He had what I would say is a very poor first half. We've spoke about this and I'll mention it again. Since he's come back from injury, he's not been the same player. There's something wrong there. I don't know what it is. Is there a reluctance to put himself about as much because he's worried about engaging the injury again? I don't know. This is things that we've seen in the past with players like Lamela. They don't want to re-aggravate their injury, so they don't play to their full potential, which is annoying. But he was better in the second half. He got the assist with the low cross for Sonny. But all in all, again, not great from him. It's becoming a worry now. Sanchez and Dyer, obviously their first 3 games together in the Premier League, didn't concede a goal. They'd been much better than they were last season. But it's a strange one. Although they didn't defend great, I mean, Sanchez was okay, but they had no protection in front of them. The defence was just all over the place. And I'll explain bits about that when we talk about what Hugo Lloris said. But yeah, as a partnership, it just didn't work on the day. It looked like they hadn't played together before, really. Dyer, I mean, he was all over the place for the goals. He played the ball over the top for Kane. You know, something positive that he did. Played the ball over the top for Kane, which he should have scored, but didn't. But from them, not a great outing. And I understand they're going to have a bad game every now and again, but against Arsenal, you just expect that bit more, the bit more passion, hunger. You know, maybe the occasion got the better of them. They've been separated for a few games now because Dyer picking up the injury and also Sanchez having to isolate. So, moving on to the midfield, Tanguy. For as much of the quality he's got at times, he's so frustrating. He was really slow to get back and defend at times. However, he did try and create things for us, but it just failed. I don't necessarily feel that's down to him. I actually feel it's down to positioning. I want to see Tanguy playing further forward. If you're going to play a 4-3-3, I want him further up. I mean, I'd rather not play a 4-3-3 anyway, but I just don't like the concept of it. If we're playing a 4-3-3, I want it to be loose, where Tanguy gets more of a free role to get forward and link play. The problem is, if he's deep and collects the ball, he's got so much work to do, and there's, you know, in a derby, there's so many players on Arsenal's team that are going to be hungry to battle and win the ball off him. He's just putting himself into pockets of danger all the time. So I feel like it was wrong in that sense. Højbjerg, he looked very leggy in the first half. The guy has played a lot of football. He played every Premier League game for us last season. He played a fair amount in the cup games as we progressed. He obviously was at the Euros and played a lot of minutes. Where he never used to really be a guaranteed starter for Denmark, he's solidified his spot within the team now, and he's one of the leaders for them. So he's played a lot of football, and I expect him to be tired every now and again. But this isn't the game you want it. Also, I think being with Dele Alli and Tanguy didn't help him because they're not naturally the most defensive players. Dele Alli's trying to adjust into that role. Tanguy's very hit and miss. Højbjerg looked a lot better in the second half when he was partnered next to Skip. Dele, he was subbed at half-time, and all I can say about him is he just had no impact whatsoever. As I've said, he's been running a lot in games, covering a decent chunk of ground, but the end product's not there. Defensively, he's still learning in that aspect in this new role. So it's going to take time. So I don't want to get on his back too much because he's learning new systems and new roles. However, I do expect a bit more from him. Mora, once again, ran a lot to no avail, really. I don't think that's down to him. I think that's down to the rest of the team. They just weren't offering much. And, you know, Lucas has actually done an interview and he was basically saying that, you know, we need to work harder. You know, the guy runs and runs and runs, and it was similar to Lamela, really. Both of them were absolute battlers in the sense of the terms that they will run themselves into the ground. At times, this means he's like a headless chicken, runs into danger, doesn't quite have the time to look up. The quality's not there because he's constantly at full speed, but I feel like people around him let him down. Sonny, quiet day at the office, apart from the goal. There's something that's missing with him at the moment, but he does tend to have these quiet spells, so it's just another one that he's going through. Again, just come at the wrong time when the rest of the team are underperforming. And Kane lost the ball for Saka's goal, tried to make his way back, made a challenge in there. It ended up, you know, coming back into Saka's path, and he scored. He couldn't finish in the big moments once again. The summer must be affecting him in some way. There's no way it's not. You know, he's only human. I know he's mentally strong in some aspects, but there's definitely something going on there. He's just not good enough at the moment. I do think that Nuno has to be braver and maybe take him off. I know we haven't necessarily got the people on the bench. I know Scarlett's there. And, maybe it was time to bring Scarlett into a big game like that, because certainly our younger players, when they come on, performed well. I mean, and we'll talk about them now. We'll lead on to Skip. When he came on, it improved the midfield. It added a bit more energy, a little bit more solidity to break down those Arsenal attacks. The guy loves sliding tackles and stuff. Like, he ended up getting himself a booking, but he showed passion in a London derby, and I feel that maybe you should have put him in from the start. He's been at the club since he was a child. He understands the in and outs and the importance of the Tottenham Arsenal rivalry, whereas although I like seeing Tanguy and Ndombele back in the starting lineup, he doesn't have that kind of hunger and passion on the pitch that someone like Skippy's going to have. So I feel like we should have started with him. But again, should have been a different formation anyway. Royale, he came on as well. He tried to get up and down. He was a lot more productive than Tanganga in that sense. He was more of a threat than Tanganga. But again, he's another one. He's feeling his way into the squad. He's a new player. It's going to take time. But it was nice to see that he was trying to put himself out there. But the game was gone at the end of the day. And then Brian Hill, who I'm starting to really like. I'm enjoying his energy, his creativity. He was important in Son's goal. He's got good energy. Again, he improved us as well. But it's strange that the experienced players on the pitch weren't able to do this for us. But you throw on, a new player in Royale. You've got Skip and Hill, who are very young. They come in, they add energy. So this is what I'm saying. Maybe it was worth giving a punt on Scarlett. Put a youngster in, let him throw himself about. You've got nothing to lose in that sense. I mean, we couldn't have performed any worse. So, yeah. Right. What did Nuno have to say? Well, he was quite honest about the performance. Agreed that it was poor. Again, he wouldn't talk about individuals, and he never gets drawn into this, which from one sense is a good thing because it doesn't get the players on his back. But on the flip side, us as supporters, we want to know what's going on. We want to know what he's thinking, who he's blaming. I don't want him to dig the players out, but, you can talk about individual performances, because he won't even talk about players individually in a positive light either. He likes to do all that behind closed doors, which is probably why players respect him. But still, we want a bit of the goss. He admitted that he got things wrong, and he's probably talking about the personnel on the pitch. He's also probably talking about the formation. He said the players didn't respond to his methods and tactics. So obviously he's had a few interviews, and with each interview he did with different people, he's kind of a little bit more is slipping out. So by the time I think he'd done, was it his Sky interview? He said the players, they didn't respond to the methods and tactics. He said that he decided bad tactics. But ultimately, the players are out there, and even if the tactics are to be in a rigid 4-4-3, players have got to take responsibility on the pitch, realise that it's not working, and try and correct it amongst themselves and put themselves about. He did make a promise to the fans, Nuno, saying that they will try to fix it. And I should hope so. At minimum, you can't keep playing the way we're playing. Look, there are other factors that contribute to this. It's a new manager, it's new systems, it's new training. Things like fitness, they're going to take a while. So what we've got to look at is Mourinho is very lax in that sense, left it up to the players. Nuno drills them in fitness. They actually use some quite good drills. They put elements of fun and competition within them. And I think the players are responding to it well. However, they've had a season where they weren't really pushed in terms of fitness. So that's not helping whatsoever. It's going to take time for them to get back into the swing of things. Yes, I know they're professionals and need to do that themselves, and they will get there, but they're trying to learn the new ideologies. There's new players that have come in, a completely different structure within the club where we have Paratici as well. All that sort of stuff will affect the players in some aspect because the dynamic around the club completely changes. So let's not just think that these are paid professional athletes and they should perform, because like as I've said in previous videos, we have bad days at work. Like the British public and the way we are in Britain, we're not very good with change at all. So that reflects and probably flows through the professional clubs as well. However, the fitness isn't good enough. Desire and hunger of some of the players certainly isn't good enough. I would rather they just run themselves into the ground and had to be subbed. That's why you have subs on the bench to replace. But, in my opinion, he did get the formation wrong. We're much better in a 4-2-3-1 like we have been over the years. Skip and Højbjerg will make up that two in front of the defence. I think had he gone with, say, Reguilon left back, Dyer and Sanchez on a better day, but could have put Romero in there. I still don't think Rodon's quite ready yet. And then Royale maybe for a bit of an attacking threat down that side, because we need to be able to counter-attack Arsenal. Then you would have had Skip and Højbjerg in there. And then the three, that allows you to go with Son, Mora and Tanguy. Because I still don't think Lo Celso's ready yet. However, Tanguy, even when he's not at top form, he still has that ability to change moments in games. I also don't think Dele is quite ready to step into that attacking role yet, seeing as he's been playing mostly further back since Nuno's been in. And I don't know why. He doesn't really fit into the 4-3-3 formation anyway. It's like he's trying to shoehorn him in. But that's just because he hasn't had the players available, okay? And then obviously, Kane in the middle to make the one at the top. That has worked a lot better for us over the years, and part of bringing Nuno in over other managers is that he's supposed to be more flexible and adaptable to change. So if he's that adaptable, maybe it's time to look at the 4-2-3-1, because with the players we've got, I think it suits us better. And I'm not the only one to say it. I think Alistair Gold is somebody that's pointed it out. A few of my mates have pointed it out as well. It's just a formation that doesn't work for us. We've tried this with my football team as well, and I feel like the 4-3-3, it really causes you problems down the wings and operating channels. Other reasons, obviously, that things aren't working for us, despite the fact that it's a new manager and things. We've had, the young players come in. We've had our fair share of injuries. With the international break, we obviously had the three guys that had to self-isolate, and really that international break has set us back. It'd be interesting to see where we were at had the international break not been there, because the injuries probably wouldn't have happened. The isolations certainly don't have to happen. Then you have a more consistent, settled squad, especially with the defence. Making changes in defence is never a good thing. Goalkeepers always want a solid, sturdy, repetitive defence in front of them. If it's, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And it was working. So there are factors that have affected things. People have had to play out of position. We saw Royale actually ended up making part of a front three when he came on in one of the games. So, I'm not making excuses for him, but I can understand. So we do have to give some time. But however, the energy levels have got to be better. That's the most annoying thing for me, that despite all these setbacks that we've had, the mentality just isn't there to push through it. We seem to concede a goal, the heads go down, and you can't have that at the elite level. We haven't got enough leaders on the pitch for us. And, for some reason, Højbjerg just seems a bit different this season. I've noticed, obviously, he's been playing on the right-hand side of the two more, especially when Skippy's in. Skippy operates on the left-hand side. Maybe that's affecting things. I don't know. But it's just not good enough. And then, Kane might as well not be playing in most of the games at the moment. I do think in January we have to get somebody else in. We are still apparently looking at Ollie Watkins. We were looking at him before he came up to the Premier League from Brentford, where they sold him to Aston Villa for, 26 million? I mean, I think we should have gone for him. Then I think we missed a trick again in the summer by not signing Ivan Toney. We should have looked at him regardless of the price. But yeah, so we are looking. I don't think it's going to be January. I do think they do need to sign another striker in January, though. We'll see where we go. But, Nuno's got some work to do. Lloris has had an interview as well, and he was saying things like the players were just too far apart from one another in the 4-3-3. Way too far apart. So you end up just playing long balls in the game when you don't need to. We've got the quality in the players to press, to move the ball, to be in pockets of space, but too far away from each other, having to play longer passes than we need to, and it really affected us. Look, at the end of the day, it's not what we want to see from a London derby. It's mentality has got to change. It's too early to draw a conclusion on Nuno, especially when you put the outside factors in with, the injuries, the isolation, the adjusting to a new type of squad. He probably didn't get all the players in that he wanted. The Harry Kane thing just took too long to settle. Didn't get another striker. We only got one centre-back in. Royale was, probably later than we intended. The players going out the club late, having to mutually terminate the contract of Aurier. So there's a lot that's gone on behind the scenes, and I think that we need to bear that in the back of our minds. But yes, I agree with a lot of you, it just wasn't good enough. We want more passion on that pitch. So thank you for sticking around today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like and comment, and I'll get back to you. And also, I just wanted to say that going forward, I'm going to try and do videos every day, Monday to Friday. So you'll get some really short videos, 5-10 minute ones, just talking about updated news, because I think that's what this channel is now leading on to. You get your 2 videos a week where we talk about the games. During the transfer window, there was a lot of bits there, but I feel like now the season's ongoing, I'm going to try and add those little pocket videos in there for you just to give you some more details, and that will probably shorten these videos as well that you get twice a week. So instead of 25-minute videos, we can cut them down to 15 minutes, and it's just more sizable for you to take it in one hit. But thanks for sticking around. Enjoy the week if you can. Hopefully we will bounce back with some victories at some point soon once the players settle again. As always, thanks for sticking around. Take care, guys, and come on, you Spurs.